title of the exhibition is called Afropocalypse. Nowadays we're living in a global village and things are fast moving and stuff. So we were thinking of looking at it from the point of an African science fiction movie or anything. We're talking about the death of African culture because of all these cultures that are coming in at a very faster rate than before. And what would it look like if you had an African robot or something?
Okay, death is recurrent in most of my pieces. Back when I was 12, my dad passed away. So for me, that set my mind off on a quest. Like, I had to find out, what's this thing called death? It was out there. You hear other people dying, or it's happening to you, and you can't explain why. It just comes. No one prepares you for that. Even the religion, afterwards people say, "Oh no, time will heal," all that crap. But no one actually tells you the real thing. What is it about?
I would relate in particular to Peter Paul's work. For me, I grew up in both worlds. I've seen the best of both worlds. I've seen the best of the good life. I've seen the worst of life as well. So the reason I paint portraits or wildlife or whatever or landscapes is not because I'm trying to reflect on from where I came from. This is just the commercial aspect of it.
Like, we're trying to find Africa in the things that we are using nowadays, the gadgets and the technology, the way we communicate and all that stuff. So it's like we are trying so very hard to find a piece of Africa in all this tech development that's going on.
And David, Peter talks about death in his work.
Yeah.
Do you think what he's saying resonates with your work as well?
I've never had something that major that really affected my life to a point that it's always with me. I'm always thinking about it the way Peter says. I don't have that kind of experience. So I tend to just jump around with ideas, and if I get another idea, I'll do it and see how it works. So that's how I do my art. I just do it the way I feel like doing it. I don't follow any rules.
Yeah, but don't you feel like it's of essence that you pursue a particular approach to art making so that you create an identity, that specifically singles you out of the many artists that are operating out there? Something like a brand.
I think there is that in my art because my style is different from most of what Malawian artists are doing.
Steve, you're a motion graphic designer or artist, and you're looking at all this work. How does this fit into your work?
I was looking at Nzengo's work and Peter's work and trying to find that space. The problem with motion graphics and visual effects is that the difference of that work, always you have to look at Western culture. So it made me believe maybe you can have motion graphics that look to be African. And I think you can go back in African culture and find those prints, my pattern in African. So yeah, I think we can produce unique art of Africa in motion graphics.
It's like doing art is organic. It depends how I feel, and if I go with a pattern, I have this concept I like to use. I call it mass effect. You take one pattern and you continuously repeat it and you see how it looks at the end. For me, I'm always trying to visualize how will it look, and that's interesting for me. So for the amount of detail, some pictures will have a lot of detail, others will not. But detail is something that I also use as therapy. You just get because it's intense, and the instruments I use usually the pen. So it's you do one line one after the other. So that kind of puts you in a zone. And for me, when that happens, everything else gets blocked out, and I just focus on that thing. And after you finish, it's like you've woken up from a dream. You feel refreshed, drained, and on to the next thing.
We can't always try to do the typical African art when our lifestyles and everything are not as African. Some of us have never been to the village that much. Some of the things that we paint, they don't even relate to the way we have grown. So what we're doing is trying to express ourselves so that our art is not just art. It's a part of us. It expresses who we are and what we do. We're not just doing it the way everybody's doing it. We're doing it with a piece of us in our art, because art basically is self-expression.
Exactly. He's very right. You know, going through different phases in life. Just like me, I went through a different phase, and I didn't grow up like in a normal village. I can live here, but does not mean that I'm really living fully here. I'm seeing a lot of things from outside, and I happen that I've traveled too, so I've got different experiences, and how I look at life and how I look at music would be too different. How a person who's lived in the village for the rest of his life or her life would look at it.
The art itself, I think, is quite impressive. Look at your work, quite wonderful, because it's different. I think which is important for an artist, because if people walked in and say, oh, this reminds me of Pablo Picasso, reminds me of all these greats, and sometimes you ought to get worried, because then you're wearing an identity of another artist, and every time you paint, it's like you're painting for them. Not so Malawi to say, because I think there's a type of art that people would always expect, considering the background where we're coming from, in which our art has so far been influenced by the tourism aspect, in which people are coming into the country and they demand stuff to say, okay, this is what we should create for us, and everyone takes it from there, and everyone believes that, that's the kind of art that has to be produced. And as a result, artists are spending most of their time figuring out what a client wants, as opposed to what they feel they have to express. To me, I think you guys have been brave, trying to be very conventional about the work. The ultimate goal for every artist is to reach a point in which he begins to express himself to a level that defines who he is inside.
This one is called Shining Like Nyenyes. It's one of my new tracks coming up, maybe very soon. Yeah, we all would like to shine, going through different times in life. Some people don't wish me well all day, I told. Some people don't wish me well all day, I told. I wish Mother Earth gives me back my call. Wish I was lying in a coffin, my wife and children crying so abundant, so cold. They did not be when I needed them most, or the wish and wanted. This way, I'm katika pole. Made me feel as if planet Earth was not my home. Did not copy one of my door. The earth, the universe, was in a different way. The resources towards me. Picked up a guitar, let him first become a star. I'm a star. Picked up a guitar, let him first become a star. I'm a star. Won't you let them stop you from thinking? Have faith, believe in yourself and take an action. I'm on top of my nakedness and on top of my struggles, I'm shining like a star. You can't touch me, I'm above the clouds. Yeah, I'm shining like a star. Shining like a star, shining like a star, shining like a star. Shining like a star, shining like a star, shining like a star. Ndikwala ngati nyenyes, ndikwala ngati nyenyes, ndikwala ngati nyenyes. Ndikwala ngati nyenyes, ndikwala ngati nyenyes, ndikwala ngati nyenyes.